My last time babysitting. I hurried down the street, my breath visible in the chilly night air. I was running late, again. This job at the Walters had been a steady gig for the past 6 months, and I liked the little routine I had developed with their baby, Lily. Tonight, however, I had underestimated the traffic, and my nerves were starting to get the better of me. Finally, I reached their familiar house. I quickly composed myself and rang the doorbell. Almost immediately, Mr. Walters answered, looking more haggard than usual. "Emma, thank God you're here," he said, his voice shaky. He glanced behind him nervously, then looked back at me. "I'm sorry I'm late," I apologized. "How's Lily?" She's fine," he stammered, not meeting my eyes. We really need to get going." Mrs. Walters then appeared in the hallway, looking equally tense. "Emma, please, make yourself comfortable. We shouldn't be too long tonight," she said, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Of course," I replied, feeling a slight unease. They always seemed a little bit overprotective over Lily. But tonight, they seemed tense, almost worried. Our interactions had been really awkward, but I simply brushed it off. They exchanged a quick, worried glance before stepping out the door, leaving me standing in the dimly lit foyer. I locked the door behind them and took a deep breath. It was just another night, I told myself. Their house was silent, save for the faint ticking of the antique clock of the hallway. I tiptoed up the stairs, the old wooden steps creaking beneath my feet, and got to the landing. I paused for a moment, then listened for any sound. The silence was almost oppressive. I carefully made my way to Lily's room, the door slightly ajar, then pushed it open gently. I stepped inside and was immediately enveloped by the familiar scent of baby powder and lavender. The soft nightlight cast a warm glow over the room, illuminating the crib where Lily slept soundly. I smiled, feeling a wave of affection for the tiny bundle. As I was about to settle into the rocking chair, I noticed an envelope on the changing table with my name scrawled on it. Frowning, I picked it up and opened it. "Emma, I am so sorry. This is not what we wanted, but we had no choice. It got in through the roof and threatened to harm Lily and David. We tried to protect them, but it demanded a trade. We told it we were expecting someone. You. It wants you, Emma, and we had to comply to save our family. Forgive us, Mrs. Walters." My heart raced as I reread the note, each word sinking in like a lead weight. My mouth went dry, and a cold sweat broke out on my forehead. I glanced around the room, suddenly hyper-aware of every shadow and sound. That's when I heard it, the faint creak of the door behind me. I spun around, my pulse thundering in my ears. The door to the hallway was slowly swinging open, though there was no breeze. Panic surged through me as I clutched the note in my trembling hands. I quickly ran to the window and I saw Mrs. Walters' remorseful face. In her hands was baby Lily. I watched in horror as their car drove away, the headlights disappearing into the nightlight. They had left me here, alone. I backed away from the window, feeling trapped, and my mind raced. What had they meant by it? The door behind me creaked open farther, and I turned slowly. The darkness beyond the doorway seemed to pulse and breathe, as if something was waiting. I knew I could not stay here. Clutching the note, I edged towards the door. As I reached the threshold, a cold, slimy hand grabbed my arm, yanking me into the darkness. I screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the house, leaving nothing but an echo. The last thing I saw before the door slammed shut was the baby monitor on the dresser, its screen flickering with static, and then the world went black. When I awoke, I was no longer in Lily's room. The air was damp and cold, and the floor beneath me was hard and unyielding. My head throbbed and my vision was blurry as I struggled to make out my surroundings. It felt like a basement filled with the scent of mildew and decay. I tried to move, but my limbs felt heavy, and panic set in as I remembered the note, the cold hand, and the look of sheer terror on the Walters' face. This is why they were so awkward earlier. They had known this would happen to me. They had sacrificed me. Suddenly, a soft, eerie humming pulled me from my thoughts. It was like a lullaby, but twisted and distorted. I struggled to sit up, my eyes scanning the darkness for any sign of escape, and then I saw it. A tall figure was standing at the far end of the room, its eyes glowing with an unnatural light. It slowly approached me and smiled, revealing rows of sharp, jagged teeth. You, it whispered, you are mine now. Hey everyone, if you've enjoyed today's story, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button because it helps me out a lot. See you on the next video.